Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. This is how much we think gold is worth. If you think about what a dollar is worth, you'll see that it's worth the assets they hold. What is the only real thing the federal government owns that has to do with money? It's gold. How much gold do you have? How much do you value that? The US, which is the world's main currency, could say overnight that it thinks an ounce of gold is worth $20,000. What do you think we have? I have no idea how much they have. So all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, they just made the dollar and gold worth less, but they had a lot of gold. That's right, the dollar is no longer backed by the US Treasury, which is a waste of money because of all the spending. Instead, it is now backed by gold. Also, guess what? Gold is worth $20,000 an ounce, and they have a lot of it. Bitcoin Bubble stands out because it is clear and easy to understand. There's no limit to who can join, no matter how much they know about crypto or how new they are to it. Guess who is watching us now? The author of the best-selling book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. We'd like to thank everyone who believed us. We read all of your comments, and the best part is that it's free. If you sign up now, you'll get all the new information for free. Stay ahead of the trends instead of just following them. Sign up for Bitcoin Bubble right now and enjoy the new edge. Arthur takes apart the idea that the paper financial system might fall apart. You could also use cryptocurrency instead, and the job of people who handle big assets. This talk goes over a lot of ground, from the differences between Bitcoin and Ethereum to the trend of moving away from the dollar around the world. They wouldn't really be a peg. How much do you think a dollar is worth, right? If you believe in de-dollarization and that country says, I don't want to hold the dollar because it's losing value, it has no assets backing it up, and I also don't trust the US Treasury. Then the federal government and the Fed could say, oh wait, guess what, we have a lot of cash. It was worth this before. That's now worth it. The price we think gold is worth now is a lot less than what we think it is worth now. We would be willing to trade gold for dollars for some people. Of course, not everyone. Only some people and possibly some sovereign nations. At that moment, the dollar turns into a strong currency. What do you think will happen with ETH next? Oh, maybe 30 to 4000000. Wow, that's Mahusif. Check it out, you might have the ETH ETF. A decentralized computer called Ethereum has a good called ETH, which is a coin that gives a 4% yield on its own. This is called a staking yield. That's why it's going to get a lot of attention. It's the only crypto asset of that size with that kind of return. It is the computer's bond and gives you a return to own it. Because of that, I think that story will be very strong as people learn more about what ETH is. And they'll say, oh well, not only do I get this deflationary bit of network value increase in the currency ETH, I'm also getting paid 4% yield in ETH. Where else can I get that kind of return? That's great. I would like to assign to this, and there are many interest rate methods you can use around that. I think that's going to be a big story for people who get into ETH and think, great, I get to help build a new digital internet on DeFi, and I get a 4% yield. Eco-dealing, which stands for hold on for dear life, is based on the long-term optimism that has led to the technical progress that has brought us into the modern world. This love of crypto culture needs to go one step further. In the United States, hobbying should be the standard way to use all electronics. People in the US are usually positive about the future in general, but they quickly become negative when it comes to specifics. 10 years ago, 78% of people said they would not eat meat made in a lab. Today, the number has almost turned around. Now 60% say they would be willing to try it. In the same way, Amazon and Jeff Bezos were closely watched and questioned in the early 2000s. USA Today said that Amazon.com will never again reach its early 2000s share price of nearly $600, and there's no promise that the company will make a profit anytime soon. At the time, Amazon's stock was trading around $50. Some people were really mean. Burko said that if owners don't get rid of Bezos and the other wacky people in the boardroom, those jerks might add a new chapter to the books that Amazon sells called Chapter 11. The people who run this company are a joke. Bezos, on the other hand, stayed strong even when the market changed and people said the company would fail. Amazon has grown into a trillion-dollar empire, which shows how much Bezos believed in the company's promise. Apple also ran into doubters. Steve Ballmer of Microsoft and Steve Wozniak, one of Apple's founders, both have doubts about the effect of the iPhone and Macintosh. But Steve Jobs didn't change his mind about his goal: transforming seemingly flawed prototypes into iconic breakthroughs. The HODL mentality is a balance in a world that is quick to dismiss new ideas. It reminds us that the path to success is often long and full of mistakes, It inspires us to put both our money and our faith in the power of technology to change things. By seeing things this way, we can see a world where not only are big ideas possible, they're probably going to happen. This unwavering positivity can be seen in the crypto community, which knows that flawed technology can grow into something useful. We've seen how flawed blockchains have grown into game-changing innovations. Now it's time for the rest of America to adopt this attitude of persistence, resilience, and long-term thinking. Yes, it will work like Bitcoin, but it will have more assets. And if people use the Ethereum network after the merge, the amount of ETH available goes down. As more people use it, there is less ETH to go around. So if we believe in DeFi and more people start using the network because more people know about it and want to try it, then the total supply of ETH goes down, and the ETF also takes ETH out of circulation, giving the price a double boost. Oh, I see. I guess time is everything. This makes us think of the last cycle. Bitcoin dropped from $69,000 to $16,000, right? I think Solana went from $250 to $7. Yes, the return from $700 to $2,500 will be higher than the return from $16,000 to $69,000 to $69,000, right? It's just that returns depend on the road you take and the time you buy and sell an asset. That is, you could make a lot more money in Solana or some other shitcoin with a much smaller market cap than in Bitcoin. It's important to get off the train at the right time, though, because you're going to lose badly against Bitcoin. It could be bad, but not as bad as going from $250 to $700. Again, it's just one of those things, right? Yes, you can make more money in shitcoins with a lower market cap, but you'll lose more if you don't time it right. So you need to find a balance between those two. Yeah, so I think I have a good idea of what the things I have in my portfolio are and what they're not. Also, I can trade the story, and I know that when the story doesn't match up with who they really are, it might be time for me to leave. These things don't make sense to me. I've never read the white papers for Bitcoin or Ethereum or work on the technical side of things by people who are much smarter than me. Based on what I read on Twitter, I'm sure your behind will get smashed. Because you don't know if what you believe is true or not. If I trade a piece of shit, at least I'll know it's a piece of shit and size my position properly. A new study shows that BlackRock's ETFs, especially IBIT and ETH, have done better than Grayscale's. With this change, BlackRock is now the biggest owner of Bitcoin ETFs, leaving other investors in its wake. This important accomplishment also makes BlackRock the company with the biggest ETF holdings, which shows how smartly it has been moving in the market. Bitcoin ETF got a lot of money coming in, with $11.1 million coming in on Thursday being the biggest day. Even though there was a short pause earlier when $81.4 million was taken out of the market, institutional investment rose sharply in the second quarter of the year. Shows that both BlackRock's IBIT and Fidelity's FBTC got a lot of investments, showing that institutions are more interested than usual. Besides being a leader in the Bitcoin ETF market, BlackRock's IBIT has also become a leader in the Ethereum ETF market. The company got almost $1 billion in new money, showing that it is the leader in another important part of the Bitcoin market. This kind of performance shows how influential BlackRock is and how well its plan works in making money off of main cryptocurrencies. BlackRock's rise in the Bitcoin ETF space and strong success